Aqui, ó.
When you did the jumping from one part to another, I kept like reflecting on what, in my view, most of the feminist movement in Brazil were like, we were for too long investing in, as we had a leftist party in the government, and they were like open to build some public policy and stuff. Most of the women from all the communist parties, all the left, all the feminist movements kind of entered the government as a way to do something that we used to think as more permanent changes, as that will reach more women, and it was. I'm not saying that it wasn't worth it and it wasn't important, but I think we were mostly focused on that, like in constructing public policy that had the budget was very restricted. The policies were as for the limits of the state, many times just directed to punishment or helping women through police support to domestic violence, and another thing that we already know is very, very problematic. But where I was trying to get is that we used to think that public policy and investing in this kind of changes would be like something more permanent, and because it's like institutions, and we should think about institutions, and the feminist movement doesn't have to be the ones that have to support women because the public policy has to do so. And then from one day to another, when we were there at this big women's conference that public policy government, at the day of the impeachment, they ended up everything in one day. Like, it's over, you've worked like 15 years to get it, but it's all over now, like in 5 minutes. And then after that, we kind of rediscovered what in many other countries in Latin America. For example, I can see a very big influence from Mexican movement within the question of feminicide, and Argentina and all Latin America's movement in this spring feminist moment. But we kind of realized that building the movement and doing this everyday activism and everything, and building some other social structures that would support women would be something more urgent than working on political institutions, because they can like take it all in one moment. And then I just wanted to know, how do you think like the feminist movement is like, the left especially is like rethinking this women's movement and feminist movement, political struggle and work? Did I?
It's very difficult to, because it's like I am a historian, so I look for the past and you are looking for the future, and it's like a citizen. I can respond, but not. I'm not really an analyst like this. Perhaps Sonia would not. She's a political scientist. And but what I think it's different when you see now the question of the institutionalization of the participation of feminists or leftists in the government is different when you see it now than when you saw it like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, we could criticize the Secretariat and we could say, they don't do what we wanted. But now, when you see it all over and there's no more, and the ministry, who would be the Ministry of Women in Brazil, she's an evangelical woman and she's against abortion and she's against all these things, and she's not even a ministry, she's like the secretary of the secretary of the secretary. So it's different. So we now can put another value to that moment, to that political moment. I think we have to do it. It's like we are always reconstructing our vision of society. Is not, that's what history shows us, that we are always reconstructing it. But I don't think it's not valid. No, valid. It's not worth to work with the government. We had a lot of gains. Some of them are lost, but we remember a lot of them, and we had a lot of gains that continue. We have the law, for example, Maria da Penha's law. It was not gained by, it was not given by the government. It was a struggle to get there, but we could get there in that context. And if now we could not have it. It's being. We have to maintain it. We have to. Do you understand my point of view? It's different now. It's like when we look for the dictatorship period, and or we look to the João Goulart government. At that time, all the people were criticizing him, and then after the dictatorship, we said, "Oh, it was better than now." So we have to move. We have to rethink the movement. Don't know if I'm really responding your question, but I don't know how to respond it in another way.
Other questions, comments? No? Continue the conversation informally over food then. And hopefully maybe English. Thank you. Thank you again.